Alrighty, so this instruction video is intended to provide some travel instructions. It's going to be the first of a couple different ones that we're going to make. Us in the EP office just want to provide more resources for everyone to kind of understand how to use the travel system. So first what we're going to look at is we're going to look at how to find the instructions. So if you're on the SUU website, all you're going to search up is you're going to search up accounting services and pull up that first link. Here you can find all sorts of instructions of a lot of things related to accounting services, but to find the travel, you're going to go to the accounting services training and instructions, and then you're going to go in and it's this button right here, this travel authorization instructions. This is going to bring you to its own page, and all of the travel instructions, the travel guidelines, and the various videos that we're going to create will be on here. Right now there aren't any videos because this is the first one and I'm creating it. So what we're going to use is we're going to look at the travel authorization and reimbursement instructions little slideshow that we have, and this kind of provides all the information that you need. But I'm just going to walk through it a little bit just so you have some commentary when you're trying to figure out how to complete your travel. So travels are used anytime that you travel for the university. If you're going to a conference, if you're taking a group of students somewhere, you need to submit a travel. So there are two types of travels according to the system that we have. We have our travel authorization. This is also called, your travel request. It's the first thing you submit, and these are to be submitted before you travel. That is kind of one of the big things, is that they need to be submitted before your travel, so that we can comply with IRS guidelines, so that you can be covered by risk and insurance, and we comply with that department as well. The second part of the travel is called the travel expense report, and I'll scroll down here a little bit and show you. So the expense report is right here. They are to be completed after you travel. So after you travel, you go on a great trip, you come back, and you have 30 days once you come back to submit that travel in order to comply with all our different regulations and departments and in order to be reimbursed. So those are the two parts of the travel, the authorization, the reimbursement. There's a lot of great resources on this page. Just if you have questions, completing an authorization, completing an expense report. For our purposes, I'm kind of gonna show you this other resource, and this is the travel guidelines resource. If you have any questions on specific expenses, what you need that qualifies as a valid receipt, required forms that you may need if you go on a travel, then this is where you can look. So I'm just going to make a couple comments. So this tells you, where to find your travel instructions and everything, and has a couple notes about the authorization and the expense reports. But we're going to look right here at valid receipts. I get a lot of questions about receipts, and so I'm just going to show you this real quick. A valid receipt is, a receipt, an invoice, or form, or other documentation that is provided by the vendor where an eligible business-related expense was incurred. They must contain several things. They must have the name and address of the business, the date and time of purchase, the itemization of what you bought with it, the amount paid, and how you paid it. For lodging, we also need to have the rate charged, the name of the guests who paid for the room, and the dates that you're there. One big thing is bank statements or credit card statements are not acceptable valid receipts. You need the actual receipt. And then we have a couple notes on if you're not able to get a proper receipt and what you can do to try to get reimbursed for that. Another thing, if you go to a conference or some sort of event that has an agenda, you have to attach that agenda to your travel. This is something that we miss a lot, and it's like the number one reason why we return travels is because we don't have that agenda attached. And so we need to make sure that that's always attached. We have various signature forms that are required depending on the travel. So, for example, if you're athletics and you are giving cash out to students for their lunch while they're at a competition, we need a signature of every student of the amount that we gave them and the day that we gave it out in order to reimburse that money to you. And so there are just other situations like that we may require those, and that information is there. We have travel party files are also a required form. Anytime that you require that you travel with students, we need a travel party file to show which students went with you. Travel mileage logs also may be requested if you are requesting a mileage reimbursement that is not easily found. Most of the time, I just use Google Maps and I map myself from Southern Utah University to wherever you went on your travel. If the mileage is not matching up, it's not very close, then we may request that you provide an explanation of where you went and how you calculate your mileage, and travel mileage logs are a great way to do that. Signed mail forms are not required for travel, so you don't have to worry about that. So if you have any other questions on this, for sure, always reach out to the accounts payable office. And then we just have some other notes on this page about travel advances, per diem. This has an explanation of per diem, and then we've got an explanation of high cost locations that you can get a higher per diem at. We also have some notes on mileage reimbursements. You can only be reimbursed for mileage if you take your personal vehicle. If you take a rental vehicle, you can't be reimbursed for mileage. We do see that quite a bit. Rental vehicles, make sure you have receipts and you have the fuel receipts. We cannot accept a picture of the pump. You have to have the actual receipt. If it doesn't print, go inside the gas station and ask them for a receipt. The last thing that I just want to mention on this video is lodging. If you go somewhere and you're not staying at a hotel, or anything like that, and you don't get a receipt for wherever you're staying, then we do allow an allowance of $20 per night. We can reimburse that to you. So if you go stay with your parents, you go stay with your family, or you go stay at a campground, we can reimburse you $20 per night. So that is kind of just going over, the travel guidelines. We've got our travel instructions here. On this travel instructions page, it's just a resource for anyone who's creating a travel to kind of get what they need. If you ever have questions, please reach out to the accounts payable office. We'd love to help. I'm going to create a couple more videos. We're going to create one about creating a travel authorization, creating an expense report, what to do when it gets returned. So if you have questions on those, go to the other videos that will be on this page. Awesome. Thanks, you guys.